Thank you, Chair. I actually just want to pick up exactly where that left off. I was just trying to get a little bit more clarity on your position regarding AI. I saw a quote that you had given previously where you said, quote, less enforcement we have, and you were talking about federal regulation, less enforcement we have on AI is a good thing because employees aren't having their rights violated and employers aren't violating these laws. So I guess I just wanted to ask you more specifically, what role do you think the federal government can and should play when it comes to AI regulation, as we're worried in a bipartisan way about job loss and replacement, not augmentation of work, but replacement?
And I'm not sure I said it exactly like that, but what I meant to say, if AI can actually be designed in accordance with not only our nation's laws and our nation's values, we can hopefully, with a lot of qualifiers, get to a place where AI discriminates less than humans in the employment application process, throughout the employee life cycle. You know, as a former commissioner at the EEOC, we see that bias in employment decision-making occurs, and there's a lot of statistics related to that. What I was saying, if AI is designed, developed, and deployed in a transparent manner where we can understand what the factors are that go into that, it can discriminate less. And if there's less discrimination, there's less enforcement. That was the context of that.
Okay, on the employment side of things. Well,
it was very much on the employment side in a very specific context. And, you know, what I was arguing there is, you know, if we have it right, we can actually have a contemporaneous record of how an employment decision was being made. If you think right now how an employment decision is being made, if there's bias, we don't know what was in that hiring manager's brain. We can't crack that. And when you ask somebody if they discriminated, very rarely does anyone actually ever admit that. So what I was saying is that if we get the AI transparent, we can actually see those employment decisions, see if it was fair or see if it was biased. And that's very hard to do right now without technology.
That's a helpful clarification. I guess I'd like to expand it and get your sense then, you know, kind of along the lines of what my colleague was just asking. Are there any particular industries and sectors where you think that AI and next generation technologies can get to a place where they are replacing and displacing workers, not augmenting? I'm just wondering, are there certain areas, certain sectors, certain types of jobs you are worried about and you would want to keep an eye on as the deputy?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's been a lot of very fancy studies done on this. And, you know, putting my former EEOC commissioner hat on, what I was concerned with from that job is who would it disproportionately impact from a discrimination standpoint? How do we go back?
Sorry, I'm not asking about the employment side. I'm asking about actually, like, you know, are you worried about, for instance, the trucking industry? Are you worried about?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help people in New Jersey, across this country, understand what are the vulnerabilities when it comes to our workforce, when it comes to AI, and get your perspective as someone who may very well play a critical role in this.
Yeah, and this is where we have to, you know, use the other side of the Department of Labor to make sure that if there are people being displaced by AI jobs, which I was getting to is inevitable, that we have the tools to be able to reskill, upskill, whatever the fancy buzzword
my question
of those individuals.
Is, what jobs are you worried about? What industries are you worried about? And then we can hone in on figure out how to try to address that, how to be able to provide people in those industries certain types of training and whatnot.
Well, I mean, if you look at the jobs being displaced by generative AI, you know, a lot of those are knowledge worker jobs. A lot of those are jobs that have been historically done within an office. And now, you know, that's an area that we need to reskill and make sure that there are remaining parts of their job. And if not, where else in the workforce do they fit with those skills that they previously had?
I just want to switch here and just switch gears. I just want to ask you, do you support the work that OSHA does regarding safe workplaces and environments?
Of course. It is one of the most important missions of the Department of Labor to ensure that all workers have a healthy and safe workplace.
Do you think OSHA has been sufficiently funded over the years?
I am committed to doing a full workplace analysis, not just on OSHA, but every other enforcement agency within the Department of Labor to make sure that each agency has the investigative and law enforcement and safety resources that they need.
There have been some efforts in the past to try to cut OSHA. When I was over in the House, we saw $95 million proposals by the House Republicans to cut OSHA. Does that concern you at all?
If confirmed, I will look at all of not only the workplace makeup, but also the budgetary needs for the department and work with the White House and this Congress to make sure that the agencies are able to function with the proper budget.
But you recognize the importance of this, and if you're confirmed, you'll work with this committee to make sure that it's being protected to the level that we need to ensure safe work environments.
I will confirm and assure you that for all the agencies within the Department of Labor are all very important. And as Deputy Secretary, we will make sure that everyone has the resources